Hi, it's the Wolf Witch, and today we have 3 piles. I want to take the time to appreciate you. I just feel like a lot of people get really scared of tarot, and they don't like hearing messages from their shadow selves, and they don't like hearing things that are uncomfortable. So the fact that you've clicked on this video is like, I'm proud of you. Good job. But yeah, I promise to try and be sweet about it. It's not gonna be fucking rude. But maybe I should get the deck that kind of calls you out rudely. We'll see. But anyway, we have 3 piles to choose from today. The first one is the Bones Tarot with a Cosmopolitan flower. Beep beep. The second one is the Vampire Tarot with the rose in the middle. And then the last one is the Marigold Tarot with, wouldn't you know it, the marigold on it. Alright, so I'll give you guys a minute to think about that, and then I'll see you at your reading. Hello, pile number 1 with the Bones Tarot and the Cosmopolitan flower. This is your reading. Okay, so already we see deep-seated fears. Okay, but it's followed by the star. Let me double check that you guys can see everything. Alrighty. Maybe I should zoom in. Would that be helpful? Did I just make it worse? Never mind. Alright. It's Nine of Swords, the star. And then we have the King of Wands in reverse. Interesting. We have the Three of Wands. And then we have the Four of Wands, both in reverse. Temperance in reverse. Alrighty. So the Nine of Swords in reverse comes to us when we are like really deep in our own fears, but it gets to the point where they're almost irrational now. Basically, like, you've spent so much time building up the fears in your head that a lot of your fears are unwarranted. And that's not to say all of them are, and that's not to invalidate your feelings, but it's just kind of like, I feel like it's a lot worse in your head than it is in reality. And you can't see that right now. But it's immediately followed by the star, so that's great. The star is like the wish fulfillment card. It's like everything's gonna be alright, but it's also the card of hope. So I feel like they're kind of asking you to be a little bit more positive, which I know is hard to do. And it's hard to let go of your fears, because maybe it started as a reaction to something, like a natural reaction. Fear is natural. But then it just kind of like escalated and snowballed. And now it's like a problem. I kind of see with the Nine of Swords the images of a person like in bed. So maybe some of you aren't leaving the house. Maybe some of you are too scared to leave the house. But I feel like your fears are just, I don't know, like they're unwarranted. Whatever it is that you fear is going to happen is just kind of like unrealistic, I guess. And maybe it feels really realistic to you. You're like, no, this is a logical jump in conclusion, you know, jump in logic. But I don't think that it is. And I see that for some of you, with the King of Wands in reverse, you might be lashing out at other people. I feel like you have a lot of unresolved trauma that's causing you anger. And it's possible that you have a lot of like childhood wounds that that are causing that anger. It doesn't necessarily have to be from childhood, because I don't see like the Six of Cups or anything, but I just kind of get this energy of like immaturity, or like, not immaturity, because immaturity sounds like, it sounds like you're being childish. I don't think you're being childish. I think you're like emotionally stunted, or like maybe you never learned how to properly express your emotions, and the only emotion you learned how to express was anger, which a lot of men unfortunately suffer from that. But anyone can suffer from that, but especially with the King of Wands, you know. I'm getting like male energy, or maybe there was like a father figure or something, someone very like stubborn and rude and disrespectful that caused your fears. But I'm really picking up on the fact that the king is you, and you're lashing out at other people, because like anger is the only way you know how to express your emotions. And a lot of that lashing out isn't necessarily like, again, it's unwarranted. Like maybe someone did mess up, right? But I feel like the way you react is like blown out of proportion. It's possible you like also build up people in your head. You're like, this person's gonna do this to me and this to you, like because of something that happened to you in the past, and you kind of like project that onto other people that didn't do anything wrong. So then when they fuck up a little bit, you're like, oh, I knew you were a fuck up from the beginning. Like I knew you were gonna do this, this, and this. So you might be projecting like issues you've had with other people onto new people, and kind of treating them as you would someone who's genuinely wronged you. With the Three of Wands in reverse, again, the Three of Wands in reverse is kind of like not exploring to me. It either means you need to go back to the drawing board, which you do. I feel like, again, if you're lashing out, you kind of need to like take a step back and really recognize what it is you're lashing out at, and what it is that triggers you, and why it is that you react the way that you react. But again, this idea of like being stuck at home, I feel like you guys aren't leaving the house. Like you're not exploring, literally. And to add on to not exploring, that kind of reminds me of like not exploring other relationships. Like you're not allowing your relationships to grow. You're just kind of yeah, you don't like let things get too far with people. You're like, okay, I'm comfortable here in this surface level, because you have all these fears that are stopping you from going any further. But the Four of Wands is typically like a happy family, a happy home, victory celebrations, like just like happiness, basically. And it's under the star, but it's in reverse, so obviously not happiness. I just feel like because the star is here, I feel like you have so many people around you that are willing to be there for you, that are willing to, you know, work on your relationships, on their relationships with you. And they are willing to put that effort into gaining your trust, but you're just like not letting it happen at all. So I kind of see like the opportunity, you know, for you to grow in those relationships, for you to trust other people, but right now you're just like so in your head about it. Temperance in reverse. Temperance. For some of you, the King of Wands energy might manifest as like, you know, actual drug problems, drinking problems, something kind of like where you're addicted. It doesn't necessarily have to be like drugs, you know, it could just be like, I use this example all the time, but just like staying home in your bed and watching Netflix and like not leaving the house. Yeah, like you're kind of, and again, temperance is patience as well. So this idea again of like the King of Wands in reverse, you're being impatient with people. You're kind of like snapping at the first little mistake that they make, and it's like it's not justified, honestly. So I think they're just asking you to be a little bit more patient with people. Yeah, let me pull out. Let's see what kind of lessons your spiritual team or your shadow self, my bad, both, I guess, wants you to learn. Love. I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. Yeah, so you're kind of like seeing the the bad in people instead, and so it's kind of like trying to put effort into not automatically writing people off, or again, the star, like having a little bit of hope in the situation. And then you have judgment, so some of you are being a little judgmental, but I understand that everyone has their own unique path and challenges. Yeah, okay, so I kind of got this message of like, you know, you're not the only one struggling, you're not the only one who's been betrayed, you're not the only one with fears, but people are still trying, like, to reach out to you. But instead, you just kind of block them out, and it sucks because, like, they also have their own traumas, and they're trying to put effort in to be with you, and to be your friend, or to be in your life, and you're just kind of, like, shutting everyone out. Because you're like, well, I've had all this happen to me, and it's like, well, this person has also had all this happen to them, but, I don't know, I just feel, again, like, quick judgments, like, you're kind of, like, quick to write people off, like, no. Honesty. I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. Yeah, so again, trust issues. For some of you, this is a message about, like, lying to other people. I don't see, you know, I don't see, like, the Seven of Swords or anything, so I don't necessarily think you're, like, being malicious or manipulative or anything like that. It's just kind of like, to be honest with yourself, like, to really take a step back and reflect, like, why do I react like this? What, you know, how can I change this? And to, like, just be honest, but, like, with yourself. I don't think you're lying to other people, because I don't see any indicators of that. I think you're you're lying to yourself. And again, it's kind of like fear, and maybe you don't see it as lying to yourself. You're like, no, this is how people are. But I think, again, I just feel like you're, oh, I just got this very specific video in my head when I was on TikTok, as always. There was this woman talking about how she had to go to a therapist to work with her boyfriend, because everything she sees on her feed is like, men are doing this, men are bad, men are, you know, and, you know, statistics are there, and, you know, women's experiences are valid, and yes, they do happen, but she was realizing that, like, the men in her life specifically weren't like that, and she was realizing that her boyfriend, even more specifically, wasn't like that. But she had been feeding herself, like, this content, this media that's like, hate men, like, men suck, and blah blah blah, and it started to affect her relationship. So I feel like some of you just like, you're not lying to yourself on purpose. Like, maybe you're building up these fears, or maybe you're hearing somebody else's truth and you're, like, adopting it for yourself. But I think you have to, like, really look at the facts. Like, what is happening in your life? Like, has this person really done something to wrong you, or do you just expect them to wrong you? I don't know if that makes any sense. Sometimes I'm just like, oh my god. I just feel like that Michael Scott scene where he's like, sometimes I start a sentence and I don't know. I hope I find it along the way. Blame. Interesting. I accept responsibility for my well-being. Yeah, so when some of you do self-reflection, it might be uncomfy, and you know, it's not, it doesn't make you feel too good to do the reflection and go, shit, maybe I'm the problem, but you can't work through that if you just keep denying it to yourself. So really, again, be honest with yourself when you're self-reflecting, and see like which one of your reactions was like warranted, and where have you wronged people. A loyal guardian, a magical protector is there for you. Again, I feel like people around you mean well, like they genuinely want to be there for you, but you're just like reacting like very like, I don't know, like, I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for, but it's kind of like, I picture someone like, okay, so I have a Chihuahua, okay, and she's been abused, and so sometimes when I reach down to pet her, she thinks I'm like reaching down to hurt her, and she'll flinch really hard. And you know, I haven't done anything to make her feel that way, but she's been so traumatized that she just like kind of half expects it, and then she realizes like, oh, this, you know, my owner was just trying to pet me. But even though it's been years, like she still kind of has that reaction. So I mean, I'm not saying that your reactions will ever necessarily go away, but just really doing the work to see like, is this reaction warranted? Is this person actually trying to hurt me? Again, the sacred beetle armor. You have a mighty shield. A little bit too mighty. I feel like some of you are being overly protective. But I also take this as a message of like, your spiritual team is very protective of you. And I feel like right now, they're not really letting people into your life that are gonna hurt you. And so, you're scared of all these people like doing the wrong thing, but I feel like right now, for the moment, and I'm not saying that your spiritual team lets people in to hurt you, that's not what I'm trying to say, but I feel like right now they're really protective. Like you're pretty well shielded. And then your last card, Bats in the Belfry. You can achieve great things. Yeah, I don't know if you guys realize that you can have healthy relationships again, especially with the Nine of Swords hanging around. But I don't, yeah, I just see success because I do see the Star card, and underneath it I see the Four of Wands. It is in reverse, so there's work to do, but there's still success here. Like you're capable of loving again, if that was a concern for some of you. And then speaking of vampires, here's another deck for vampires. Beep beep. Let me, this one's a little more difficult to shuffle. Oh my gosh. Call for help. Reach out, need for backup, admit your needs. Yeah. So maybe some of you need people to meet you halfway, or like, but you're, you know, you're scared to tell people like, hey, I'm traumatized. Like you don't want to let people in, you don't want to trust people like that. But I feel like if you ever do decide to trust another person, just really letting them know like, hey, I have issues with this specifically, or hey, when you do this it triggers me, so I need you to react this way, or I need you to reassure me of A, B, and C. And reaching out again, some of you staying home, not talking to your friends, not talking to anybody, just kind of like isolating yourself. So remember to reach out to your friends. Yeah. Oh. I'm not taking those. This one's like really difficult to shuffle. Cause like, I don't know if you can tell, but it's like a papery finish. It's not like glossy the way this is. Wait, sorry, wrong card. This one's kind of glossy. See how that deck is like shiny? And then this one's kind of papery. So when I try to shuffle them, it's kind of a bit of an effort. Okay. Beep, beep, beep. Okay, I'll take the top one. No, I won't. Oh my gosh, come on. Okay. Okay. It says Call of the Night, daring, adventure, excitement. Yeah, so I don't even think for some of you, I think for all of you, you're being called to go and adventure, go and have fun, go out more, to be more daring. That's interesting. Because I don't think people think, when they think daring, I'm sure they think of like, you know, an adventure cartoon character or something, but I don't know, sometimes being emotionally vulnerable with somebody is fucking daring. And so, yeah, I really feel that you're being called to do that. And then we have Immortal, the consuming family and pressure of peers. That's interesting. That's really... Okay, so that got dark. For some of you, maybe the person who wronged you in your past is someone in your family. And I feel like you're being asked by your family to just get over it, which is kind of bullshit. It's kind of really bullshit. For some of you. Yeah, just like this pressure to like cave in and to like get over it and to move on when you're not ready to, and that's not what your spirit guides are telling you to do. They're not like, move on, bitch, get over it. They're like, be a little more trusting, try to see where, you know, where your fears are warranted and when they're not warranted, and try to ask people to meet you halfway. But I feel like there's, and also this pressure of peers, so maybe for some of you it's like friends that are just kind of like, I don't know, this, I just get this feeling of like, oh, get over it. It's really gross. So for some of you, that was a message. And no, you don't have to get over it, actually. That's not how this works, actually. That's not how trauma works. That's not how healing works. And if you ever did choose to move forward, it should be your choice. It shouldn't be something that gets coerced out of you. Yeah. Okay, let's see your shadow attributes. You got the Slave in reverse, and it says, giving your willpower to an external authority out of fear of making your own choices. Okay. So again, this pressure, I don't know what's going on here. The only scenario that's coming to my head is kind of like, you know, when an uncle does something to a child in the family, trigger warning, and people are just kind of like expecting the child to get over it. Yeah, it could be anything, really. Again, I was saying earlier, like, this energy of, like, childhood. I feel like somebody wronged you, and you're being asked not to give your power over to them. And then it also says fear of making your own choices. So again, all those fears that you have, Wow, okay. It kind of makes me think like you're scared that if you don't go along with what they're pressuring you to do, that it's gonna be worse for you. So you're just kind of like, okay, whatever, like I'll just, you know, move on, or I'll just do whatever it is that you want me to. But it's not, it's just like out of fear that it'll be worse if you don't. We have the king. It says enlightened, benevolent leadership benefiting those in your charge. Yeah, so, and you did get another king. So, I feel like you guys are very loving and very helpful individuals. It does say benevolent here, which is ironic because kings were known for their stinginess in history, and that's why they were often executed and and you know, just not very well liked by the poor people at the bottom. But that's not how it's seen right now, right? It's not the excessive feeling of entitlement or rulership without restraint. You got it upright, so it means you're very benevolent. But the king in your tarot cards came out like as a reversed wand, so right now it's just kind of like you're not in an energy where you can be benevolent. I don't see you as being like entitled to rulership either. It's just kind of, again, like lashing out. So I feel like you're being told to get back into this energy of like where you really help out those in need, because again, like, yes, you're traumatized, but so are the people around you. And like, I feel like you guys could really help each other, and really they could really use your help, honestly. But you can't help them if you're not healed. You can't help them if you're not you know, working through your stuff, if you're staying in the King of Wands energy in reverse. So it's kind of like, get better so you can help other people get better. But not like in a pressure kind of way. There's no pressure here. You don't have to do anything you don't want to. But we have the Thief, and it says sheds light on potential wealth within you that can never be stolen. Yeah, so I feel, again, with like trauma, people, I mean, trauma steals a lot of things from you. It steals hope, it steals happiness, it steals trust. And I just feel like there's pieces of you that people can't steal. No matter what. And sometimes it takes a little more work to get there again, but ultimately just finding that again would be, wow. Sorry, I'm like getting teary-eyed. What the hell? That was corny as fuck, honestly. I'm saying it, I'm like kind of cringing, but I'm also like, this is really, really beautiful. And then you got God. Look, you got King and you got God. So pop off, King. Pop off. You don't have to be an actual king. I mean, like a man is what I meant. I'm sorry. But yeah, just this idea of like someone in power. I feel like you're kind of a badass, but you're not in that energy right now. You're kind of in like your hideaway energy. So again, benevolence that came out again. Yeah, I just feel like you're very loving, you're very giving, you're very generous, and you would make a great like leader. Not necessarily like, oh, I'm the manager of wherever the fuck I work at, but it's literally like when once people see that you can do something, like they'll feel encouraged to do it too. And then it says recognizing the eternal force within you, yourself and others. So again, this idea of like helping other people, but you can't do that if you can't even help yourself, you know what I mean? So yeah, just feeling called to like heal yourself so that you can be an example to other people and so that you can help them. Alrighty. Beep pew. Okay, I'm just gonna take the one on the top. It says rising above the fray. Yeah. I'm not sure if fray means something else in this context, so I'm just gonna Google if that word means anything else. But to me, that reminds me of like when a string is frayed, like when it's, you know, damaged. So kind of rising above the damage, essentially. But let me see if there's any other definitions. Okay, there's this oddly specific definition about male deer antlers, which we're not talking about. So yeah, rising above the fray. So rising above the damage, obviously, like moving past that. This emphasis on like the eye is very, very curious to me. It reminds me of like the Nazar, or some people know it as the evil eye. So again, this idea of being protected, yeah, and just like being able to move past your problems. I'm just gonna draw one more from this one. Getting back to your integrity, yeah, lost compass, exactly. So it's pretty clear here that you have been someone who is benevolent and who is trusting and who is loving, and that was kind of like taken from you. And so it's just like getting back into alignment, into that energy again, essentially. And I saved the mean messages for last, so if you don't want to hear mean messages, I suggest you stop right now. And I hope that was helpful for you. But if you don't mind getting called out a little bit, this is the deck for you. Oh my gosh, it says drop the fucking ego. And then it says vulnerability is hot as fuck. Yeah, you're not being vulnerable right now. You're kind of icing everybody out. Let's draw two more. Rebel, because fuck it. Yeah, so again, this idea of like not wanting to go against what everyone's trying to pressure you to do because you're like, oh, it's gonna come out worse. But it's like, I love this energy of like, fuck it. Like they, you know, clearly weren't concerned when you were being hurt, and they're clearly not concerned now that you are hurt. And it's kind of like your trauma is an inconvenience to them, and that's not fair to you. So it's kind of like, fuck it, rebel. Like, why should you care about their feelings when they're clearly not concerned about yours? And then the last one, get over yourself, pull your shit together, help people, give back, do good shit for humanity. Oh my god. Exactly. So it's like, get it together, because you have shit to do in this life. Like, you have people to help, you have people to inspire, and you can't do that if you're out here feeling sorry for yourself. And again, some of it is warranted, but again, a lot of your fears are unwarranted. And so it's just kind of like, it's not trying to invalidate you, but it's saying like, hey, we gotta get back in alignment sometime soon now. So I hope that was helpful. Again, thank you for first off trusting me with this message, but secondly, for taking the time to self-reflect, because not everyone has the balls to do this, and the moment it's a message they don't want to hear, they run away. So yeah, good job, bravery, step one. So I hope that was helpful. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you want. No pressure. Pile number 2 with the Vampire Tarot. This one is a really cool little deck here, if we can get it to focus. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay. Sorry for the messy start. Alright, so again, just wanted to say congratulations. Okay, 10 of Swords in reverse, that's great. The last pile started with the 9 of Swords in reverse, so this is just a strong entrance from the piles today. Yeah, I wanted to take the time to say, you know, good job. Step number 1, self-reflection, because again, not everybody, honestly, not everybody has the balls to take a look at themselves, to do some self-reflection on the ugly sides of you know, yourself. Everybody has an ugly side, so you can't really fix it if you just ignore it and pretend it's not happening, so congratulations. Fool in reverse. Okay. Okay. The star. Okay, you also got the star though. Okay, that's like my favorite card to tell people about because it's like a wish fulfillment card. Alrighty. Oh, and we got another one, the Lovers in reverse. Okay. And the Magician. I already sniffed this shit. Okay. Because the Lovers came out in reverse, I'm gonna say it's a romantic reading, but if you don't feel that way, maybe choose a different pile. And of course, the Lovers card doesn't necessarily mean it's a romantic relationship, but just for the sake of this reading, I already felt that it was kind of a romantic relationship, and then that was just confirmation for me. So, someone you dated was manipulative, and I hate that I pronounced it like that. I still pronounced it wrong. Manipulative. There we go. Yeah. Okay, we'll get to it. And it's possible that you didn't even date them. It's possible that they led you on, but some kind of romantic relationship just fell through. There's a lot happening right now. Okay, so let's start with the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords in reverse is kind of like a betrayal to me. It's honestly, it's about an ending. Obviously, it's the last number in the minor arcana cards. So with the Ten of Swords, I mean, that's a good thing because when it's in reverse, it's usually like you're starting to move on, you're starting to heal, but it's very clear right now that you're still wounded about it. And so the ending of this relationship was very traumatic for you. I feel like you weren't ready to let it go, but it was kind of forced upon you. And then again, I see a betrayal. So here we have the Magician in reverse. So when the Magician is in reverse, it's kind of like a charlatan, like someone who's pretending to be something they're not, someone who's manipulative. I kind of think this is a very specific image, but I think of like a sleazy car salesman, someone who's like selling you something, but it's really a pile of shit, and they're gonna charge you more for it than what it's actually worth. Yeah, just like someone who was selling you this idea of like, I'll do this for you, or I'll do that for you, or whatever. Like, they kind of seemed like a dream come true to you, and then they just kind of like betrayed you somehow. And you feel you were left, you know, a little humiliated with the Fool in reverse here. You feel like a fool. When the Fool is in reverse, to me, it's kind of like you took a chance and then it fell through. Yeah. I'm sorry, that sucks. It's just kind of like, because the Fool is such positive, happy energy, and the idea that like it started great and you really thought it was gonna be like a good relationship to get into, and then it just like fell through. That's kind of a bummer. But and then you also have the World. So we have the beginning and the ending, you know, the last of the major arcana. But the World's in reverse is about taking shortcuts So for some of you, I'm kind of getting the message that maybe you haven't fully healed from this, maybe you're not fully over it, but you're trying to, you're either denying the fact that you're not over it, or you're kind of ignoring it and pushing it down. And it's possible you're starting other relationships, and now you're kind of being the person who's making false promises, or maybe you're just kind of like getting with all these other like obviously toxic people because you're like, well, at least I know they're toxic, at least they won't betray me because, you know, it started toxic, but that's not healthy. Stop. Yeah, and I just feel like you're kind of, because the world in reverse, again, it's about taking shortcuts, so I feel like you're not trying to do the work right now. You're kind of and now the fact that you didn't heal is starting to manifest in other ways. I just realized this whole thing was out of focus. I was like, something feels off. I am so sorry. And then in addition to that, you still have this freaking ring light. Wow. Okay, not the vibe. I'm so sorry. Anyway, here's the star card in case you need to see a non-lighty version of it. All right, I'm so sorry about that. And I still feel like, what the hell? Oh my god. Okay. I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna re-record that because I feel like I got a lot of messages out, but I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. Alrighty. The Daughter of Scepters in reverse. So again, when the Page of Wands is in reverse, it makes me think of like jumping into things without really thinking about it, or like being very maybe that's kind of the point for you. Maybe you're like, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to have to put effort into anything. I don't want to have to put work into anything. And it's not because like, oh, you're lazy and you don't want to do the work. It's just kind of like you're not willing to put yourself in a space where you're that vulnerable again. And now it's manifesting in like a hoe phase, and that's okay. Sometimes, you know, that's what people need. But I feel like right now, because this is your message, you're being called to come out of that. We have, yeah, the Lovers in reverse. So again, the Lovers is about, it's typically about a choice that makes you happy, but it's in reverse, so it's choices that make you unhappy. Wow. No, but seriously, I feel like you know that jumping in and out of all of these relationships isn't making you happy, or you know that engaging in whatever it is that you're engaging in is bad for you, and you're just kind of like, well, whatever. Like, you're not willing to compromise. I literally see Gemini like on her, I'm not sure if you can see it, on her arm, which yes, Lovers is Gemini, but then I see Gemini again like on her necklace. So Gemini to me is kind of like sporadic and like all over the place. And then we also have Mercury here, like the Magician has little Mercury symbol there. Yeah, just very mercurial energy, like going in and out of places, and some of you are like distracting yourself with anything that you can find. Like, I'm gonna go learn about this today, and I'm gonna go explore this hiking trail today, but it's not because you, maybe a part of you genuinely wants to, but I feel like you're just kind of avoiding thinking about the situation. Yeah, and also Gemini, when I think of Gemini, I think of a soulmate, because it's like the twins. So for some of you, you genuinely believe like this person was your other half, but, and it's so weird. You can see the moth on here. Let me double check that you can see it through the light. Yeah, like the death head moth. So it's funny that it's like on the Lover's card. Pew, pew, pew. Just endings. Very unfortunate. I'm sorry. Let's move into your oracle, which is kind of like the lessons they want you to take from this. Balance. I bring a state of perfect harmony into my world, and I do so without judgment. Yeah, so again, like some of you are just kind of like all over the place right now, and you're keeping yourself busy, and there's nothing wrong with that, but make sure that it's not like to avoid anything, and make sure you're not neglecting the people that care about you, because you're trying to avoid your feelings. We have imagination. I embrace and nourish the creative aspect of my mind. So for some of you, you're being encouraged to engage in something creative. Like that could be very therapeutic for you if you're not comfortable talking to other people about it, which you might be, because we did get Mercury and 2 Geminis. Yeah, I'm trying to look for other symbols, but we have an Aquarius here, so again, another air sign, communication. So for those of you that are good with communication, I feel like talking to your friends about it would be very... This one actually came out as 2, so I'm not going to take it. It would be very therapeutic for you, but for those of you that are a little less comfortable, or even for those of you that are comfortable communicating, I just feel like creating things to get this... like to process the breakup would be very helpful to you. Happiness. I am aware that being happy means that I am on the right path. Yeah. So again, you're making a lot of choices that aren't making you happy. For whatever reason, you know, that's up to you. You're like, it is a general reading, but just a reminder, like, is this bringing happiness into my life? Is this bringing like, am I actually benefiting from this, or is it just like a distraction? That's a good way to tell whether or not you should drop something, and it's a good way to bring balance back into your life. And we have death, which you did mention earlier. I am learning that endings are merely beginnings. There you go. So now you can start a relationship with someone who isn't a shitbag, and that's always fun and dandy. Then we have your imaginary friend, childhood treasures resurface. Okay, so for some of you, maybe you like, you were really artistic in your childhood and you dropped it, and now it's like gonna resurface when you start exploring ways to express yourself. For some of you, like reconnecting with people from your childhood, with your family, that might be very helpful in your healing journey. Snow White and her animal friends. You inspire trust and confidence. Yeah. So a part of inspiring trust and confidence is being trusting yourself, right? If you're paranoid and you're looking for the worst in people, then I mean, that wouldn't be someone that I would want to trust, because I'm like, I mean, sure, some of it is trauma, but other times I'm like, why are they so paranoid? There's this saying in Spanish that goes, like, those who cover their tail have a reason to get it stepped on. So I feel like your paranoia or your mistrust of other people can sometimes come across to other people as like you being someone who's untrustworthy. But it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like if you do the work and you heal through that, like other people will want to trust you, if that makes any sense. And then we have Orca magic. The Akashic Library is open. Okay. Not everyone believes in the Akashic libraries and Akashic libraries. And I'm not gonna make you believe in that, but for those of you that do, it's kind of like this idea of every possibility like when people think of the multiverse, right, they're like, oh, there's like an infinite amount of possibilities of what could happen and choices you can make and things like that. And so the Akashic records, or the libraries, are supposed to be essentially a record of all of that. It's supposedly a place in the astral where people where people can see every possible outcome of their choices. And so for some of you, again, like if you choose to stay in this energy of like negativity and this and that, and like I just feel like you're gonna attract more of that. You're gonna attract more people if you choose to stay in like, or to pursue these relationships that are going nowhere just because you want to distract yourself. You know, it's kind of like, this is a crossroad. Like you can choose to keep going down that path, or you can choose the other option. And it's kind of like that option in the multiverse. So yeah, you're being asked essentially to choose healing and to choose moving forward with people who are trustworthy and who people that genuinely like you and that you genuinely like, because you don't want to like make the wrong choices and then look back in 20 years and be like, shit, like I wasted a lot of time with shitty people when I could have just made the choice to work on myself. And again, it's not like you're the problem. You don't need to work on yourself in terms of like, you know, like the person who broke your heart needs to work on themselves because they're a freaking liar. But the idea of like working through your trauma in order to love again, basically. I'm gonna pull one from this guy. Come on. And then ancient. Ancestry, Egypt, magical inheritance, yeah. Okay, so for some of you, you're like hella magical because you got the Akashic records and then you got ancient ancestry and magical inheritance. This is kind of making me laugh because it's making me think of like performing witchcraft on someone who wronged you. Yeah. Ancestry. For some of you, it's like a message about ancestors, and calling in them for healing. And for a lot of people, what the hell? Hold on. Sorry. A lot of people believe that if your ancestors don't solve a problem in their family, then when you get incarnated, you just inherit those problems and it's gonna keep coming into your family until you can learn to resolve that problem. And a lot of the times they call it like a blood curse or like an ancestry curse, or like a family curse, you know. And it's this idea of like the person before you went through the same thing and they never resolved it. They chose to keep, you know, not trusting people. They chose to keep down the path that they were going down, and they never like trusted again. And unfortunately, it's possible that you may have inherited that problem. And for some of you, it's a little close to home. Maybe like you saw your parents grow up that way, and so now you're just kind of, or you saw your parents that way when you were growing up, and so now you're kind of like playing out the things they couldn't solve. And for some of you, it's a little more in the past than that. But yeah, just this idea of like, don't keep repeating the cycle. And then knowledge. Oh my god, again, another fucking library. What the hell? Study, learning, education. Yeah. So again, I really think they want you to learn about new things. And I think it's great that you're exploring. But again, just make sure that it's not in an effort to distract yourself. We have Vanishing Mirror, ego sublimation. I'm gonna Google that word, but I'm guessing they're just kind of asking you to step out of your ego. Yeah, essentially. Which for some of you may not apply, because when you are, I don't know, some of you, there's a long discussion about ego and how people are constantly trying to dissolve their ego, which first off is impossible, but secondly, some of us never had an ego to begin with. And the idea that you would try to get rid of it when you already don't have any confidence, you know, is kind of like not the vibe. But for some of you, yeah, they're just asking you to like step out of your pride a little bit, like try to be vulnerable again, and get away from the experiences that you've had. We have rising above the fray. So again, fray is kind of like a damaged thread is what I think of. So just rising above the damage, essentially, getting away from, not necessarily getting away from it, but rising above is like you're working through it and then eventually you are able to overcome it, right? And then this part of the reading is where the mean messages come in. So if you're not ready to hear mean messages, you can just end the reading right now. But I'm gonna pull 3 for you. 1, 2, I'm so sorry that the first part of your reading was totally out of freaking focus. Excuse me. It says, Ishta's going down with your job, reevaluate, change your perspective, or effing quit. Okay, so it's possible some of you, like this person is at your job and is starting to affect your work life, and that's unfortunate. And they're saying like if you really need to, like know how to call it quits. Like really think about the situation and what it is that you need and what it is that you need to change. And if you need to leave the job, then go for it. Then detox, yeah, because this person was toxic. Drink a smoothie, unfriend that a-hole, and throw some ish around. Yeah, so again, like finding healthy ways to channel all your negative energy instead of running around and hurting other people. Things are about to get real. You need your people around you, yeah. So just a message of don't isolate. Make sure that you have people around you who care. And again, with the Mercury messages I was getting, with the Gemini messages, talking to the people around you about like what you're going through, I think would be very therapeutic for you. So I hope that was helpful, pile number 2. I'm so sorry about the first half of your reading. Thank you and see you in the next one. Hello, pile number 3 with the Marigold Tarot. This is your reading. Let me double check that you can actually see the fucking cards, because the last pile was recorded halfway with an unfocused camera. So that's great, and I'm totally happy and not upset about that. Alrighty, Magician. So we're not starting too bad here. I don't want to, I'm probably speaking too soon, but the last 2 piles are like 9 of Swords, 10 of Swords, and I'm just like, whoa. 5 of Rings, okay. Kind of getting the vibe here. And if any of you are interested, for October and November, I will be doing Harry Potter themed readings. So we do not support, obviously, J.K. Rowling's stance on trans people, because that's freaking weird, to say the least. Yeah, and most of the cards that I'm using, there's only one of them, and it's like a deck of playing cards that's licensed, and it was gifted to me, so it's not like I'm out here supporting, like purchasing her work or anything. For those of you that are concerned about that, Yeah. That's gonna be hella embarrassing if you're like, I don't even fucking like Harry Potter, so why are you talking about this? But anyway, pile number 3. Starting with the Magician, and then the High Priestess in reverse. We have the Hierophant, the Page of Wands, and the Fool. Okay. I'm gonna pull one more card just to double check that it is what I'm talking about. Beep, 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 beep. So about... It's the 5 of Swords. Okay, so I don't think it's what I'm thinking about. Okay, because the 5 of Swords is about an argument. And I do see money being an issue here. It's possible some of you got into an argument about money, but there's some kind of like distress around like financial instability. Yeah, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that it was what I was thinking, because even with this card coming out, it's just the vibe. The Magician is about someone who is able to create basically anything that they want. And I just feel like you guys are very creative people. I feel like a lot of you are actual like creatives, like artists. And I feel like you're kind of denying that aspect of yourself because you're scared of money being a problem. Because with the High Priestess, it's like denying your inner truth, denying your intuition, denying what you know, to be true to you. And then it's immediately followed by the Hierophant, which is funny when you think about it, because like the High Priestess is supposed to be the witch. Well, it's a High Priestess, right? It's kind of like the Pope equivalent of a witch. And then you have the Hierophant, which is the actual Pope. And I'm just kind of, the Hierophant is like tradition and like what's always been done, and like systems of not necessarily oppression, but just like there's no room for deviation. It's like, this is what you do, this is what's always been done, deal with it. And I shouldn't say that the High Priestess is the equivalent of a pope, because it's not like the High Priestess speaks for all witches. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into like the intricacies of that, but just the idea that the High Priestess is like the highest level that you can achieve as like a witch. But anyway, yeah. So I feel like you're denying your intuition and you're denying your magic. You did get the Magician and then the highest level of a witch, and then you get the Pope, who's like the oppressor. So this idea that you're just kind of denying the things that you love because tradition tells you that's not what makes you money. And I feel like a lot of you have deep-seated fears, maybe even from childhood, about financial instability. And you're letting that and tradition and other people's opinions kind of, again, like with the 5 of Swords, it's an argument. Like, I feel like you're clashing with whoever it may be, whether it be your partner. Hopefully it's not your partner. That's really, really sad. Because, you know, you don't really choose your family, but you choose your partner, and you would hope that they would at least be supportive. But then when they're not, it's like, I don't know, it's so much more hurtful in a sense. So yeah, I just feel like there's someone who, there's people around you discouraging you, essentially. And it's starting to get to your head, if it hasn't already. Then we have the Page of Wands. So again, more inspiration, more creativity. And the Fool is like the start of a journey. It's possible for some of you, you're at a crossroads as to whether or not you should go down a practical route or a more creative route. But yeah. Yeah, the Fool is just about embarking on new endeavors, and so I feel like for a lot of you, I love that. I love that it's like 0, 1, 2, and then you have 5 with the Hierophant, and then you have 5 with the, so yeah, like the argument with the 5 of Swords, the poverty issues with the 5 of Rings, and then the oppressor being the 5 of the major arcana, which is the Hierophant. So all these issues about like poverty and like not being practical enough, and like these arguments, and Swords is very much about logic. So I feel like people are kind of trying to make you feel like you're being illogical, but it's really what you know to be true in your gut. Yeah. And that's crazy that all the 5s connect like that. And then you have the Fool, and then the one who can create everything, and then the one who's denying themselves. Zero, 1, 2. That's cool. But anyway. Whoa. I don't know why it feels so heavy. I feel, and I said I was gonna post this video, so I should probably get on it soon, but I just feel like there's heavy trauma around money and not having money. Friendships. I understand that a friend is in my life for a reason. Yeah, so for some of you, maybe it's your friends telling you this, and it's time to cut them out. For some of you, you might want to watch how your friends are talking about money, because sometimes our money trauma can stem from the things that people around us are saying. It's very easy, especially for like sensitive people, to adopt the traumas of other people unknowingly. And when the people around you are constantly like, I don't have money, it's so hard to get money, blah blah blah, all of these negative sentiments, like it's very easy to adopt those as our own, even if it's not necessarily our truth. I understand that a mistake is an opportunity to learn. Yeah. So for some of you, you're scared of failure, but it's like, even if you fail, it's not the end of the world. So just kind of like encouraging you to take that step and then surrender. I can release my need to control. Yeah, so some of you are scared that if you pursue the creative route, that it's gonna be like everything's gonna fall apart and you're gonna end up on the streets and the starving artist and this and that. And it's like, you need to let go of those fears, and you need to let go of your need to like know everything. And then discipline. I can accomplish what I set my mind to. That's pretty self-explanatory. I just got another message about the surrender card, the need to release control, and the Hierophant. There was someone talking about how in school what they teach you is you need to follow the rules, and you can't go to the bathroom without asking permission, and you need to do this and that, and like they're teaching you essentially assimilation and like to conform. And when you look at successful people, it's not people who have followed the Hierophant. It's not people who have followed this conditioned path. Like, and don't get me wrong, obviously success looks different to other people. If you want to be a teacher and you go to college to be a teacher and then you become a teacher, like, okay, that's successful, right? Because your dream was to be a teacher. But when you look at creative people, I mean, yes, a lot of them do have financial support, and a lot of them are fucking trust fund babies, and we're not going to talk about that right now because it's actually going to piss me off. But when you think of people like Eminem, for example. I think he's a great example, because he literally came from, like, fucking nothing. Yeah, just basically this idea of, like, he didn't get there by fucking staying in school and listening to people who are telling him you're never gonna be shit, and, you know, like, he wasn't like, I'm just gonna go the conventional route and get an office job, etc., etc. He was, like, fucking doing rap battles, like, every chance he could, and so it's kind of like this idea that you're not gonna get where you need to go by going the conventional route, and creative people that get, you know, who aren't fucking trust fund babies, don't get there by not taking risks. So this need that you have of controlling everything, yeah, it's just not gonna work for you. I'm sorry. And I know it's easier said than done. Deep Dark Sea Mermaid. Find solutions in the unknown places in the darkness. Yeah, so a lot of you are just scared about being in the dark. You're like, I don't know how it'll work out. I don't know how it's gonna sort itself out, blah, blah, blah. And they're just like, you don't need to worry about that. Like, you need to surrender. You need to trust that the universe has your back. Oh, and with discipline, yeah, make sure you're, like, committing to things every day. Like, don't say, oh, I want to be an artist, and then just kind of, like, let it, you know, don't go with the flow about it. Like, fucking commit to it then. Like, be a fucking artist then. Who's stopping you? Yeah, so make sure you have the discipline for that. And then you have Elizabeth and the Lion. It's time to become a great leader. Whew. Yeah. I feel like you'll inspire a lot of people to do the same once you find your path through that. Because with the 5 of coins present there, it really feels like you're someone who isn't, I'm not gonna say you're not fortunate, but I mean, you clearly have some kind of trauma related to money, and yeah, and so I feel like people will look at you and go, well, if they can do it, then I can do it. We have the fairy ring, new skills, advanced training, rapid improvements. Yeah, so again, this idea of, like, some of you feel like you're not good enough to make a career out of your creative endeavors, and just kind of like commit to it every day, be disciplined about it, and you'll see your rapid improvement. Yeah. Advanced training, that's interesting. Gonna pull another card about training just to see. And it says, the Golden Phoenix, something you thought finished burst back into life. Yeah, so the Phoenix is this idea of, like, death and rebirth, and I feel like some of you kind of shelved the thought. And we got the Page of Cups. Yeah, so again, just more feelings of, like, maybe you have imposter syndrome, but a lot of you just feel like you're not good enough to pursue it, and I don't think that's true. And they're just saying, like, and if you do feel that way, then fucking train and be better then. Like, what's stopping you? Yeah, and the Golden Phoenix, a lot of you have shelved the idea that you could even do this at all, and so it's kind of like, nope, it's still down there, and you can, you know, reach in there and get it anytime you want. Yeah, it's definitely not finished. Oh my god, these are so difficult to shuffle. They're, like, not a glossy finish, and so they're not easy to... I don't understand. And it's this, I'm pretty sure it's the same artist. Unless I am on crack. Let me... it doesn't matter. It fucking doesn't matter. But I'm just like, why? Why is one glossy and one not? I don't like this. If it is the same artist. If it's not, get on this artist level, because what the hell. And then we have the monster within us, internal struggle, personal challenges, wanting to improve. So again, another, and then it has a violin. So for some of you musicians, this idea of like, you feel like you're not good enough and you want to improve, but you can't improve by not doing it. So just fucking do it. If you need to find yourself along the way, that's fine. And internal struggles, just going back and forth, like, should I follow the traditional route or should I go with what I want to do? And I mean, you should just go with what you want to do. You're gonna fucking die anyway, like, I'm sorry, but empathy, simpatico, kindness, compassion, yeah. Again, I feel like a lot of you are very, I hate the use of the word empath. I'm an empath. I don't want to hear it anymore. Okay, no, you're a sociopath, actually. But, yeah, I just feel like a lot of you are very sensitive to what other people are saying, and I feel like you just take it on as your own, but it's not your truth. And I think I'm done with this because it's starting to hurt my fingers and I'm not getting any cards out of it, so. Oh my gosh. Okay, dances on one foot, a balancing act. Yeah, so I feel like you guys are just caught in this struggle between like doing what you want and doing what people are telling you to do, and it's just not working out. Gathering around, the power of community. I feel like there's a lot of people around you who are willing to support you, like just as much as there are haters and basic bitches telling you to be just like any other bitch. Like, you don't have to do that, and you also have people around you who are willing to support all your little quirks. So find community in that, even if it's not like someone you know in person. You know, I feel like a lot of people find their community online, especially when it's niche things. So just kind of finding support there. Finding support where you can is what I'm getting. And it says the perfect storm, the courage to step into life. Hello. And then another, like, oh my god, Evanescence of bring me to life. You're being a little emo over here with the raven. Okay, all right, sorry. No, but yeah. I feel like you're kind of dead right now. Like, even right now I was making like nihilistic jokes about like, oh, you're gonna die anyway, but I usually don't say that, but I feel like it's your energy. Like right now you're just kind of like, nah. Like, oh my god, have you watched the Incredibles movie? And you know where like in the beginning Mr. Incredible is at his office and he looks like he literally does snap. He like breaks the freaking doorknob off of a door. He's like over it, and then he just snaps back into life. Okay, if you have the chance, you go watch The Incredibles. That's the vibe I'm getting. Like, oh my god, you are Mr. Incredible. Hello. Do you know who the fuck you're talking to right now? I'm talking to Mr. Incredible. Yeah, so just stepping into, and it's so weird because usually when I'm reading tarot, whenever I'm doing a tarot pick a card, I accidentally end up referring to the viewer as a female, but you can be any gender, it doesn't matter. But today it's been very much like accidentally referring to people as male, and right now I'm just like Mr. Incredible, like stepping into that like masculine energy of like, fuck you, you know, like the way people make fun of men. No offense to men, but they're always like, men just have the audacity, like even if they're not, like, oh my god, who was it? Was it Chris Pratt? Who, he saw a beekeeper, a professional beekeeper, do her job, and he was like, I can do that. And then he ended up getting stung because he couldn't fucking do that, because he's not a professional, but he's a man and he has the audacity. So it's kind of like stepping into that energy of like having the fucking audacity. Like, yeah, bitch, I can do that. And it doesn't matter if you're making little stick figure drawings. Eventually you're gonna make badass bitch drawings, and you know, just have the audacity until you can have the skills to accompany that said audacity. And then let's see what you have. I don't like that it came out in 2, so I'm just gonna redraw the scribe. So again, some of you might be writers, but you're very creative and preserving knowledge and information. So again, I feel like some of you are learning at the same time as you're doing, and for some of you, I'm sorry, I hate when people like drink and eat when they're talking. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, for some of you, like, it's very possible that you know how there's people that exist and they just don't know what their passion is, and they go their whole lives and they're like, I don't know what I want to do. It's possible that some of you just found what you want to do. Like, it's very new to you and you're still kind of learning how to do it. And so that's kind of where a lot of your doubts are coming from. Like, oh, well, I just learned this, I'm just new, like, who am I to do this? And it's just saying, like, just keep learning, because even if you're a fucking professional who's been doing this for 20 years, you're still always learning. So, you know, just because you're new at something, that's not a reason to stop you. And just because you don't know what you're doing doesn't mean you're never gonna know what you're doing. This idea of, like, learning as you do it, you don't have to know all the answers. So again, releasing control. This one, it's in reverse. It says obsessive passion that harms others and self-destruction. I'm actually gonna look back to see if that came out reversed or not. So let me pause the video. So it did not flip in reverse. I saw that. I saw it. I was like, yeah, this doesn't make sense. Your creative love is not destructive. Great passion and devotion, unbridled appreciation for someone or something. Yeah, so I just feel like you guys are absolutely enamored with whatever it is that you're doing. And I remember I used to love playing the bass, and it was literally like being in love. Like, I couldn't stop thinking about playing the bass. When I would think about it, like, my heart would beat fast. Like, I don't know, it was like I had never experienced such passion for something. And I just feel like you are experiencing that right now, and to deny that is just so sad, because some people never find that. Some people never find the thing that they love so much. Whoa. Why am I getting emotional? Yeah. And to deny that for yourself would just be a tragedy. Whoa, I'm sounding like Kermit the Frog right now. Hold up. All right. Okay, I think there's no more messages in this deck because no more came out. So this is the part of the reading where it's gonna get a little bit mean. So if you're not interested in that, you can tap off right now. And thank you for your time. And again, thank you for doing shadow work, because I feel like not everyone is willing to do that, and it takes a lot of balls. So here's your first card. Eat your fucking vegetables. Eat some shit made by Mother Nature. Stop whining. No one wants to listen to that. Complaining makes you weak. You have the strength to change the world, so do it. And then your last message says, you are the best thing to ever happen to you. Go easy on your ass and buy your own damn drink. Yeah, so right now it says you have the strength to change the world. There's a drummer that I love. His name is James Sullivan. He's passed now, but he has a quote. I'm gonna misquote it, but it says something like, you don't have to be the best because people have already changed the world without being the best. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking. It says you have the strength to change the world. And I just feel like you have a lot of doubt, like you don't think you're good enough, and that is not true. And also, even if it is true, you don't have to fucking be the best. Think of all the shitty ass people putting out basic bitch music. Think of all the shitty ass art you've seen that sells for $1 million. And yes, that is part of a scheme, but I'm not gonna talk about it. But some of it is just like, so yes, okay, a lot of it is tax evasion, but a lot of it is also like people genuinely thinking this art is beautiful, and you look at that and you're like, that actually looks like shit to me. So so again, you don't have to be the best to change the fucking world, so don't worry about that so much. And go easy on yourself, because I feel like a lot of you are being really mean to yourself. And it says buy your own damn drink. I feel like that's a message to kind of treat yourself. Treat yourself. Oh my gosh. Okay, now I'm gonna start referencing Parks and Recs. But anyway, yeah, because I feel like maybe the people around you aren't treating you kindly, and it's like, you don't need them to fucking treat you kindly. Treat yourself kindly, and fuck them. And eat your vegetables. That's a curious message. I mean, it is possible that some of you are, like, when you get really sad about something, you start engaging in unhealthy habits, and maybe it's possible that this is just a message for some of you, like, hey, go get back into alignment, stop engaging in things that are negative for you. But I like that it says Mother Nature. Maybe some of you just need to like go for a walk in Mother Nature, or to connect with the tree that you have at home and just like meditate and really think about like grounding yourself, and really, because with the High Priestess in reverse, it's like when you've gone out of alignment with what you truly want. So just like taking a step back and asking yourself, like, if money wasn't an issue, if your family's opinion wasn't an issue, if you can do anything you fucking want right now, like, what would it be? And then just doing it. Just getting into alignment with that. Yeah, so I hope that was helpful. Again, thank you for doing the work, and I'm sorry if you don't like Harry Potter and I fucking ranted about it for like 5 minutes. I hope that was helpful. I don't know if I said that already, but see you in the next one, pile number 3.